It's time to get your geek on with Dave Gramillion.
Welcome here, San Antonio. This is Get Your Geek On, and I am Dave Gramillion. Our show is powered by the Texas Renaissance Festival, with over 650,000 people attending the event from September 29th to November 25th. Get your tickets at texrenfest.com. This is the premier talk radio show for Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, esports, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. You see, geek is not what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is in. Geek is very in. Geek is now the mainstream, and we are here to talk the latest and greatest that is geek right here on Freedom 1160 Talk Radio and freedom1160.com. This is Season 3, Episode 11, and we are getting ready to wrap up the month of San Antonio. We have our last guest here. Last but certainly not least, Laurie Gonzales will be speaking to us very shortly. Laurie runs all of those wonderful cons down at the Wonderland Mall of America, 17 shows a year. We're going to discuss how she stays sane and, doesn't just completely go bonkers running those types of events. My goodness. Power Rangers has celebrated its 25th anniversary. That's right. Feel old yet? A quarter of a century of Power Rangers, and we'll talk about that here for a little bit. We also want to talk some video game news as well. DOTA 2 broke its own record for the largest prize pool in esports history. We'll tell you how much and how much higher it just might go before it's all said and done. Star Wars Resistance. The trailer was dropped. Did you catch it? Did you see it? If you're over the age of 13, you may not be thrilled about it. If you're under the age of 13, you probably are thrilled about it. We'll talk about that as well. And we need to come clean a little bit. Let's give you all a look kind of behind the scenes about what we do. We have some people that say, how come Dave Bautista talks to this show or this newspaper, this magazine, but not to y'all? Kelly Marie Tran penned something in the New York Times. Do we ever reach out to them for comments to try to get them on the show, and if not, why not? And also, what happened with Alamo City Comics? They closed down. We reported. We were the first ones to report that they closed down, and we're going to discuss that a little more in-depth and in detail coming up after the bottom of the hour news break there. So, without further gilding the lily, I want to go ahead and bring on our guest here. She is a veteran, an alumni of Get Your Geek On. She's been on before. It's been a little while, but we love going down to her shows. We really appreciate all the hard work that she does, and it's only fair that she comes in and talks about all the hard work and everything that goes into who she is and what she does. She is Laurie Gonzales. Laurie, we want to welcome you here. How you doing?
Doing fine.
All righty. So, how about that weather, huh? I'm really sick of 102-degree weather.
I'm very sick.
You should move.
Yeah. I don't mind it in May, but that was 3 months ago. We've moved a quarter of the way around the sun. I'm ready for it to move on.
But this is San Antonio. We could wake up tomorrow and there'd be a snowstorm. There's just no telling.
Yeah, we could, or we could also end up, around Thanksgiving. We could be, in shorts and t-shirts again. So it's, it is what it is. So I want to ask you first. You deal with so many events, 17 events down there at the Wonderland Mall of the Americas, and it's not just the sheer number of events that impresses me, but it's how varied they are. You have Sci-Fest. You work with the more phenomenal Expo. There's PokeFest SA that you work with also.
PokeFest moved to Norris Conference Center. They're out of Wonderland Mall.
Okay, so they're out of there. But you have Monster Fest. MonsterCon. There's so many events that you do. So my question is, how do you juggle 17 events in a year?
It initially started out 7 years ago with one event, MonsterCon, and it took over the mall. And then the mall said I could handle their, at that time it was market days. Uh-huh. The little towns have market days. But I said I'd had to do it my way. So I geeked it out. It was just a matter of finding 12 different subjects for those shows. The one-day arts and crafts shows, what could we do? Well, now we've got Princess Fest. We've got halfway to Halloween. We've got a Dragon Ball Z coming up in November. Ooh. And we're bringing in 4 Dragon Ball Z voice actors for that one.
No, who do you got?
They're sponsored by KamehaCon, and you'll have to go on the website and see who they're bringing in.
Okay, all right. That's KamehaCon.com.
Yes.
KamehaCon.com.
They put on the big sold-out Dragon Ball Z convention in Irving, Texas.
Very cool. Okay. So, but how do you juggle? I mean, that's I mean, that's almost an event every
every
3 weeks.
I mean, every month.
Yeah. So how do you?
Some of them are
juggle
2 a
that?
month. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
Well, a lot of them started out as the 1-day shows, and when the crowd impacted so big, it just grew into a 2-day show.
Mm-hmm.
Princess Fest was one of those, and we probably get about 500 to 600 attendees at that one, with just little bitty girls all in tutus, and it's crazy. And then
it's adorable. I love it.
Harry Potter in January was a 1-day show, and it just blew out of the water. Same thing with that one.
So with 17 events going on, I mean, do you ever have time really to just take a breath before you have to plan and plunge into the next con?
Not really.
No?
Right now I am working on Monster Con. I'm working on Heroes and Villains in November. I'm working on Day of the Dead. Now, Day of the Dead in San Antonio is Dia de los Muertos.
Yes.
In my community, Day of the Dead is Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead.
Okay, all
so
right.
our Day of the Dead is not the Day of the Dead San Antonio is expecting.
Not the traditional one.
Yes.
But, all right. Well, I like it. That's very cool. Very cool. But what would you say? What's the most rewarding part of running these cons?
We have a family that go to MonsterCon every year. The child is in a wheelchair.
Oh.
And oh no, this baby he just has a ball. I mean, he's there I see him all the time. The moms wave, the baby waves, and and it's very rewarding that what these are the future geeks.
Yes.
You know, I've been asked, you know, how do kids come and go to a horror con? Well, what happened is you had one geek marry another geek, and they had baby geeks. So then we end up with 5-year-old Chuckies. We end up with little girls running around in blue dresses like the twins from The Shining.
Like the Pennywise that won I was there. I judged that cosplay contest. That kid was, wow. That was incredible.
That little boy coming down a hallway was like, oh yeah, I gotta go this way.
I mean, he had the teeth, he had the walk, he had everything. It was
and he wasn't the only one. There were a couple of Pennywises there that were amazing. So I guess the most rewarding thing, if you're going to ask me, would be the kids.
Seeing all the kids.
It's all the kids.
Now let me ask you. All right, so that's the good one. But do you have a favorite? Now we're playing mom here. You got 17 little ones running around, but do you have a favorite?
MonsterCon.
MonsterCon. Above all others. That's
above all others, because I mean I am a horror buff. I've been in the creepy classics for 19 years now. 20 years now. I've been creepy classic videos, and if you're wanting to sit down and talk to me about John Agar and and Tarantula or the old black and white, I love them.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's my passion, is horror. And when I first saw a horror con would be Texas Frightmare with Lloyd.
Okay.
And I've been a faithful vendor ever since then with Lloyd and Texas Frightmare.
Outstanding. Very cool.
It's memories. You come home with a memory that you talk about.
And that's starting to come up now. I mean, we're slowly, carefully getting out of August.
Yes.
Which means it won't be long before we're back into the silly season.
But here's the thing: the community, the horror community, it isn't a month. It isn't a day.
Oh, it's year round.
It's year round.
Especially if you go to Home Depot around this time of year. I mean, back to school's already gone. Now they've already got the Halloween decorations.
It's how I stay in business.
All year.
All year, people come in my store and they're buying videos, they're buying furniture, they're buying horror decor and artwork and autographs, and it's all year long.
Now, does size matter when it comes to cons? Because if you look at Alamo City, I mean, they pull in 70 to 100,000 people. There's Dallas Fan Days pulls in 70 to 100,000 people. Wizard World pulls in all these people.
Size, it's going to depend on how you're asking it. Does it matter for attendees or does it matter for vendors? Because those are two different things.
All right, well, let's look at it from both perspectives then. It's essentially because you're running all of these events. Does it matter to you?
No.
Not even a little bit?
No.
No hesitation?
No hesitation. No, it does not matter to me. Because one, we don't rely on a door. We have no door.
Right, there's no door fee.
I am not rich. There is duct tape on my car. And some months I have ramen. But there's no door, so we are free admission. So when people come to MonsterCon, it's not just a mom and a son or a dad and a daughter. It is the entire family and grandma and grandpa, and everybody gets in on the fun.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you would love to have as many people as possible come by. Is there ever a point where you think it would get too large?
Right now, last year MonsterCon, and it'll probably happen again this year, there is no parking at the mall.
There's just...
Not at the mall.
I wonder what the mall thinks about that.
Oh, they love it because the stores are getting business.
That's true, yeah, because while you're there, you might as well go to Burlington.
And I only know that happens when security comes by and taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Don't move your car."
If you move your car now, you ain't getting back.
You ain't getting back. Don't move your car.
You're going to have to park on the other side of I-10. Go down Fredericksburg a ways. Just when you get to USAA, we'll send a tram for you. That's what we'll do.
You're going to have to take an Uber. Sorry.
Yeah. To Uber on down. Now, what is, tell me about Nerds for a Cause. What is Nerds for a Cause?
Nerds for a Cause is, we are a not-for-profit charity. And while there's a lot of cosplay groups that are very much in the public eye, they're very much on TV and you see them with the photos and everything, we don't do that. We're very much behind the scenes because a lot of times families, they're proud and they need help. They just don't want it all over everywhere. So those are the families we help. And a lot of times, for Harvey, for example, we wiped our bank down to zero with Harvey.
Wow.
We sent $1,000 to the Houston Food Bank. We were sending money everywhere. I was telling vendors, artists, and so on that came from Houston that they could have free tables at my shows.
Nice. Very cool.
Because it's a community. I think we should, when something that tragic happens, we should all be together.
Oh, I completely agree. That's why I was very happy that I was able to pull together as many cosplayers as possible. So many people answered the call on incredibly short notice. It was like, look, guys, here's the event. Let's just get down there and see how much money we can raise.
Exactly.
And I think we had like a couple dozen cosplayers come out on literally like a day's notice.
So,
it was incredible.
We've done, in the past, last year we donated, this was horrible. It was 100 box fans for the senior citizens. We donated those to the fire department. The reason I say it was horrible, it was my car doesn't hold that many.
Make a bunch of trips then.
No one had a lot of trips.
No one had a pickup truck.
No.
Oh my God.
My car was the biggest car.
Oh no.
And before that, we've done scholarships.
So you had all your fans right there.
Oh yes. Oh.
So, but do y'all do events outside of the MonsterCon and Sci-Fest and that sort of thing?
Yes.
Independent.
We've been asked for the hospital visits. We've done Wonderland will have their own events and they will ask us to help out. Like we're going to have our Darth Vader at the Santa Photos in November.
Very
for Black
cool.
Friday.
Very cool. Where can people learn more about Nerds for a Cause if they want to join up or they want to help out?
We have a Facebook page called Nerds for a Cause, and a lot of times we'll be posting when people need help. We'll post GoFundMes, we'll share funny stories, we'll cry sometimes, but that's where you can find us and you can find out what's going on.
Now, looking at San Antonio itself, this is the month of San Antonio that we're wrapping up here. How have you seen, we've seen the city change drastically over the past just few years, but how have you seen the geeky community change?
It's come out of the closet.
It is mainstream.
It is mainstream. I was that closet geek. I was the Trekkie in high school in 1979 that was afraid to let everybody know I was a Trekkie because there was such a stigma attached to being a geek. And now it is so weird to walk into a Walmart and there are my Freddy Krueger t-shirts right there in the front rack.
I mean, you can walk down to the Riverwalk right now and you'll see someone wearing a Captain America t-shirt. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I
think that is the coolest thing is it is okay to be that nerd. It's okay to be that geek. And it isn't even so much about the knowledge as much as it is the passion. Because these people have the passion for this subject matter.
Which is great to see because we've always had it. And it's nice now to see that warmth, that acceptance, that it is now mainstream. It's not about, wedgies and swirlies or anything like that. Now it's, hey, that's a pretty cool looking Iron Man shirt. It's all retro. You got the old school comic maybe on the t-shirt or something like that. And
now you've got people where their cars are reflecting their geekism.
Yes.
Have you seen those? Those are amazing. The cars are reflecting the geekism. You've got their clothing, their homes. I do custom furniture, and it's all nerd furniture, and I can't keep it in the store.
Now, when it comes to a con, coming from your perspective, what is most important in a successful con? Is it that the vendors are happy, that the fans are happy, something else entirely? What's most important?
I'm going to have to say it's both. Because if you don't have happy vendors, you don't have a good con. Then there's problems. They're the first ones to reflect that there are problems behind the scenes.
And probably the loudest ones too.
Yes, they are. Take my word for it. Yes,
I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm never going back to that show. I tell you what.
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, so happy vendors is a big thing.
Happy vendors is about 50% of it.
Okay, who are some of your favorite vendors? The ones that you just love to see.
Carlos Herrera's with 2ID Toys.
Okay.
He's a very good with people, always donating for raffles and GoFundMes, always there for the community. Christian and Sarah Hodges. They just opened up their first little store called Hodgetastic on 35 and shirts.
Hodgetastic.
Yeah. So, we have vendors that have paid for the whole year.
Wow.
Yes, they've paid for all the shows for a whole year to stay in one spot.
And that's important because that makes you happy.
Yes. That's where our advertising money comes from.
Yeah, and they get the table, they get that spot, it's theirs. Kind of like, when you came back from Breckenridge Park for Easter, it's like, no, this is my table.
This is my table.
This is my spot.
I licked
know
it. It's mine. You can't touch it. Because somebody has asked me, how do I get Carlos a spot? And I was like, you got to wait for him to die. I'm sorry.
That's the only way. But he gets the best electricity spot.
He licked it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
He licked the spot. He's marked his territory. That's it.
7 years ago, that man said, this is mine, and that's his.
And that's just the way it went.
That's just the way it went.
Someone else that shows up at I've seen y'all shows, that's the Heroes and Villains of Cosplay, known as Havoc, and they sponsor the show here, and we're very happy that they do. You can find out more about them on Facebook. Just look for them, Havoc, HAVOC, Heroes and Villains of Cosplay. If you have questions, if you're here in the San Antonio area and you want to cosplay, but you're not sure if your outfit looks just right, you have questions about cosplaying, or what if I can't make every single event? Don't be scared off by this. You want to check out our friends over at the Heroes and Villains of Cosplay. They are waiting to welcome you to their events.
They're a good group.
I love those guys. They're wonderful.
They're very, very welcoming to new members. They're great with kids.
And something else that's coming up also, speaking of the More Phenomenal Expo, which is coming up here pretty soon. It's around the corner. The Power Rangers, they celebrated their 25th anniversary.
Oh my God, I love it.
We got that music clip from our friends over at Bitforce.
Oh, really?
Oh, God, Bitforce. I love those guys. The Bitforce is wonderful. They put on the Zombie Walk and the Wookiee Walk.
Yeah.
And they're a great band. So if you want to look up for a great band that does covers like that, Bitforce, that's where you want to look.
Oh, and you got to check out the Zombie Walk.
Yes.
The Zombie Walk is amazing.
That takes over downtown.
I love it.
It's fantastic. And I like how these things always start from small beginnings.
Yes.
I mean, who would have thought that Zombie Walk would be as big as it is?
As long ago as it started. It's been around a long time.
A long time. And, they shut the streets down for that.
Yes.
It's incredible. 7th largest city in the country. They shut down some of the streets of downtown for Zombie Walk.
I tried a couple of times, and now they just laugh at me because I'm sitting on a curb somewhere going, go on without me.
Just leave me here. I'm good. No problem. So you have any good Power Rangers memories now that they are a quarter of a century old?
Just that now I don't have to pretend I'm watching it with the kids because the kids want to watch it.
I'm watching it for me now. I can come out of the closet there.
I can come out of the closet and say I'm watching Power Rangers.
I know, Goose, you've got some really good Power Rangers memories. You have to.
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school when it premiered, and I watched it a lot. I dropped off during Zeo, came back during Dino Thunder, and then dropped off again a little bit. But and I'm not like an every week watcher with it, but I do enjoy it from time. It's like a live action Voltron. Mm-hmm. But the 25th anniversary episode is coming up on Tuesday, and it's going to have 10 returning Rangers to it from the past. Including, of course, Jason David Frank.
What?
But he's going to be in 2 different Ranger costumes. He's going to be the Dino Thunder Black Ranger to introduce us, and then he's going to later say Dragon Zord one more time and be the Mighty Morphin Green Ranger. Now, of course,
and that's when Goose will just break down in tears.
There's been three actors that have been known since day one: Jason David Frank, Jason Font, who was the Time Force Red Ranger, and then Catherine Sutherland, who was the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger after Amy Jo Johnson left, then became the Pink Zeo Ranger, and then the Pink Turbo Ranger. Now, added to that, we have Steve Cardenas, who took over Mighty Morphin Red from Austin St. John, and then became Zeo Blue and Turbo, or he was actually in Turbo. He almost was, but not quite. And then Ceylon Ward comes back. He took over Turbo Red from Tommy, and then became the Space Blue Ranger.
Is everyone taking notes? There will be a quiz afterwards.
There will. Speaking of Dino Thunder, we have the White Dino Thunder Ranger coming back. We've got the Lee Ming-Hu, who plays the RPM Silver Ranger. RPM was the last Disney series of Power Rangers. Steven Schuyler, who was the Gold Ranger in Power Ranger Samurai. Kiara Hanna, who was the Megaforce Yellow Ranger. And Yoshi Sudoroso, who was the Dino Charge Blue Ranger, who is actually the real-life brother of the Ninja Steel Blue Ranger. So we're in the Power Ranger Super Ninja Steel season, the 25th season, and we have 15 Rangers that are going to show up on screen. There was a preview that came out recently that showed the RPM Ranger, the Time Force Ranger, and then we got to see Tommy as the Black Ranger.
That's a lot of Rangers.
That is a lot of Rangers. That's 15 Rangers.
Wow.
And the only two that are from the same team is going to be Mighty Morphin Green and Mighty Morphin Red.
I wonder if they're going to throw a curveball at some point and maybe include, even as a cameo, some of the ones from the recent movie that came out. Because in the movie, we had some of the old school Rangers that had a cameo, including Get Your Geek On alumni Amy Jo Johnson.
Yes.
So that'd be kind of a neat little twist.
But Kimberly, her version of Kimberly hadn't been seen since the Power Rangers Turbo movie. And, of course, the episode is going to be called Dimensions in Danger and will air on Nickelodeon Tuesday, August 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern.
What's going to be really cool is that you're going to have a lot of parents sit down with their kids and watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is what I grew up with, so now you get to watch all this with us together. It's become a family event.
Are they coming out with a part 2 on the movie?
I've heard Hasbro is actually going to do a sequel.
Oh, thank God.
They should, because the first one was a good movie.
I loved it.
I thought it was great.
Now, when it comes to this anniversary episode on Tuesday, the question I have is what morphine sequence are they going to use for the Mighty Morphin? Because when Adam showed up in Operation Overdrive, they actually redid the entire Mighty Morphin morph sequence. So are they going to go back to just the regular ones where they're holding the morphers inside the morpher, or are they going to use that? Because that was really cool.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, it's called the Operation Overdrive anniversary episode was called Once a Ranger, by the way. So you can find that on Netflix.
Now, Laurie, what is the next show that you have coming out? Which one's around?
MonsterCon.
Is that MonsterCon? It's the end of September.
It's the end of September.
Okay, so
that's after the More Phenomenal Expo.
Yes.
All right, so MonsterCon is up next. That's the big one.
That's the big
one.
one.
You have any good surprises for that show?
We're bringing in Felissa Rose.
Ooh.
Sleepaway Camp.
Nice.
Both of the sleepaway camps. We've got Kitty Corvette coming in.
Okay.
She was an Elvira runner-up.
Okay, very cool.
And we've also got Osvaldo Fernandez coming in, and he was in Jurassic World, got killed by a raptor.
Nice.
I know, because I was in the movie theater going, that's my friend that just died.
There's like 3 people who didn't get killed by a raptor in that movie, though.
It's just 3. Everybody else died.
To be fair, yeah. I mean, a grand total of 3 there. And, of course, cosplay contest for both adults and kids.
We're having a Scream Queen contest.
Ooh.
And then we've got Tiny Terror Tots.
Tiny Terror Tots. What is that? I got to know what that is.
Little kids. It's a kids costume contest.
Like toddlers.
Yes.
So that's really more for the parents.
Your 5-year-old Pennywise is going to be on stage.
Oh my
well, at least you got
God.
the alliteration going. If it's gonna be geek, it has to have some type of alliteration.
The Tiny Terror Tots, exactly.
And we have 4 costume contests.
It sounds terrific. No.
The Tiny Terror Tots is terrific.
I would think.
Terrific?
I think it'd be terribly terrific.
Terrific Tiny Terror Tots.
Wouldn't it be awesome if the
Terribly
T-Rex
terrific.
won?
No, terribly terrific Tiny Terror Tots.
Now say that fast 4 times.
No.
That'd be cool if there were some Tiny Toons in there. In your terribly terrific Tiny Terror Tots.
Now we're going too far with it.
So that's what I like about this. It is truly a family event.
It is very,
whole
very
families can come out, and there's
family-oriented.
something for everybody out there.
We're very careful on the guests that come in. We're very careful on the costumes that do show up. It is very family oriented.
Okay, now let's put you on the spot. Can you name all 17?
All 17.
All 17 shows.
Oh, I can try. Hogwarts Arts and Crafts Show.
That's one.
Princess Fest. I can't do it.
Well, MonsterCon's 3.
Sci-Fest, Lost in
4.
Wonderland, Nerdtacular, Lost in Wonderland, Heroes and Villains,
7.
Villain Fest,
8.
Halfway to Halloween,
9.
Practical Magic,
Yep.
and I'm missing some.
Well, we got to double digits. That's more than...
More Phenomenal Expo.
Well, no,
That's-
that's Kimber Bob.
Oh, that's Kimberbach. That's not
I'm
yours.
just
Okay.
helping out. Yeah.
That's more than half. I mean,
We're
considering
just partnering on the advertising on that one.
you have 17. So, I mean, that's 10
I got
right
12.
there. So that's pretty good. That is a lot to keep up
Yeah,
with.
and then in December, every single weekend, Nerds for Cause does photo ops with characters.
Really, every
So
weekend,
every
regardless if
single
there's a show or
weekend.
not.
So the first weekend, we're going to have Freddie and Jason.
Oh, cool.
Christmas photos, and that is hilarious. Oh my God, that one is hilarious. The second weekend is Jack and Sally.
Aww.
The third weekend is Beetlejuice.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna do Beetlejuice with a worm and with a wedding dress.
But do they have to say the name 3 times
Yes,
first?
they do, or they don't get a picture. And then the last one is gonna be Darth Vader.
Oh, nice. Very cool. And all of this takes place at the Wonderland Mall of the Americas
Yes, it does.
on Fredericksburg Road and Loop 410.
And there's so much that goes on at that mall. Every month, every other weekend, there are events going on that free.
All the time.
To take the families to. I mean, the mall has opened its doors and been a wonderful sponsor.
Absolutely. And we'll be right back here. We got a hard break for the bottom of the hour news here on Freedom 1160, freedom1160.com. We want to thank our guest, Laurie Gonzales, for coming in. You've been fantastic. Love having you here. All right. Man, that pumps me up. Even on a Sunday, it's about almost 4:30, a little after 4:30, but man, it still pumps me up. Love it, love it, love it. Welcome back from the bottom of the hour news break. This is Get Your Geek On Freedom 1160 Talk Radio and freedom1160.com, powered by the Texas Renaissance Festival. With over 650,000 people attending the event from September 29th through November 25th, get your tickets at texrenfest.com. I am Dave Gramillion, and if you missed the first half of the show, we wrapped up the month of San Antonio. Every week, we had a different guest from the geeky community here in San Antonio, and we wrapped it up with Laurie Gonzales, talking about the 17 different family-friendly shows that she runs down at the Wonderland Mall of the Americas on Fredericksburg Road and Loop 410, right behind that big Super Target and the Dave & Buster's. We love going out there. We strongly recommend y'all do as well. We also talked about Power Rangers and their 25th anniversary. That's right. If you want to feel old, now's the time. Power Rangers is a quarter of a century old.
Go, go, Power Rangers!
Yikes. Wow. I swear, I heard like Iron Man Dark Knight's 10 years old. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, whatever. Power Rangers and Jurassic Park. The first Jurassic Park turned 25.
Go, go, Power Rangers!
And they both involve dinosaurs.
Both involved very good. Also, joining us here in studio now, we do have Clickbait coming in. Laurie has slid on out, so Clickbait gets to take the chair now. So welcome here, good sir.
Thank you. She left it warm for me.
Yeah, very nice, very cool. And if you missed anything, you missed any of our interviews, any of our opinions, breaking news, anything whatsoever, then what you want to do is check out our award-winning podcast. That's right, the best podcast in San Antonio, as voted on by San Antonio Magazine. And you can find that over on iTunes, Stitcher, Omni, or the Google Play Store. We're over there as well. The best podcast in San Antonio is right here. All right, so let's start off by giving you all a peek behind the curtain here. Let's clear the air on a few things.
Stir, whip, 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 stir. Stir, whip, 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 stir.
Really?
Let's try it again. Stir, whip.
Really? That's the sound you wanted to use, huh? That's the one. I wanted to go with, we get these little sound clips all the time. I wanted to go with the Liar, Liar Jim Carrey doing And the Truth Shall Set You Free. Mm-hmm. But I was a little late on that one, so that's my bad. So you can just imagine that the sound clip we should have played there was, And the Truth Shall Set You Free. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things. First, let me lead off with talking about, there's a lot of news that has come out, and we are the geeky news for talk radio. I mean, like in the nation. There's really not much that's bigger than us. And so people have asked me before, it's like, hey, how come y'all don't have Dave Bautista on the show to talk about the James Gunn news? How come you don't get Kelly Marie Tran to talk about the online harassment? Or did you know Freddie Prinze Jr. got a death threat?
Oh, yeah.
And
about over football.
Yeah, of course, because he got into it with some Ohio State knuckleheads. The ones that say that they went to the Ohio State University. And I'm like, whatever. So he got into it with them. He got a death threat. And how come you didn't have Freddie Prinze to talk about this online harassment and the online bullying community? And the answer is we do reach out all the time. I probably spend a lot of time reaching out. We've reached out to Peter Capaldi and Pearl Mackey and John Heder and Charisma Carpenter because they're all going to be at Wizard World, and we reach out to them. When news breaks, I reach out to the agents of Dave Bautista and Kelly Marie Tran and invite them to either come on the show or at least give a comment, tell us their story, that sort of thing. And, sometimes they'll say yes, which is how we got...
Amy Jo Johnson.
Amy Jo Johnson. Counselor Troy got to call into the show.
Gray Delisle.
Gray Delisle called in. We got Taylor Gray, who was the voice of Ezra Bridger in Star Wars Rebels.
Hold on, I missed something. We had Grey Delisle.
Yep, there we go. And so we do get a lot of guests to call in, but we don't get everybody. And we do reach out quite a bit to as many people as we can because this is talk radio. This is not a podcast. I mean, we have a podcast, but it's not just YouTube. This is heard over the airwaves on 1160 AM KRDY. And so we reach out to a lot of people, and not everybody returns, which is fine. I'm sure they get inundated with requests. And we understand that we're not exactly Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity or Jim Rome. Yet. We're working on that. So I'm cool with that. It is what it is. But I want to let y'all know that we do reach out. We try to get a lot of people. And if there's anybody in particular you think we should get, let us know. You can find us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GYGO radio. Just shoot us a message. You can shoot us a tweet, GYGO_radio. I'm going to try to get rid of the underscore, though. I'm going
to work on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on that.
So you can shoot us a tweet, say, hey, can you get this guy? Or you ever reach out to this guy? Or so on and so forth. When episode 9 is done, you better believe we're going to reach out to Mike Quinn.
JJ. Reached out to JJ.
Oh, I've reached out to JJ, believe me. But we'll
not
reach out to
JJ
Mike
Bullock,
Quinn.
JJ Abrams.
JJ Abrams. No, yeah, exactly. So we do that. We strive every week to try to bring in certain guests, especially those that have something to say. There are times when we will bring in guests to talk about what happened in the past. For example, Pat Proft.
Yes.
Who wrote the Police Academy movies, who wrote a number of what we would call geeky films, including the aforementioned Star. If you play it again, I'm going to throw something at you. Don't. No, I'm serious. Don't. Including the aforementioned Star Wars Holiday Special, of which the Stir Whip sound effect came from that. And that's to talk about what it was like back then. And we got some revelations, like how little George was actually involved in the Holiday Special. That was cool.
Which explains a lot.
Which really does. So it's interesting to see who we can bring in and who we reach out to and who just doesn't respond at all. A lot of times I get no response at all, which is fine. I mean, somebody like Killing Retrain probably gets several dozen requests a day. So it's
not through
Instagram.
Wow. Gosh, Goose went right there.
That just happened.
Right there.
But we welcome y'all's input. If there's somebody you think that we should speak to, as a guest on the show, let us know. Don't be afraid to speak up. We love to hear from y'all. All right. So over a month ago, we got a tip. And tips come our way. We got a tip from a source who said that Alamo City Comics had abruptly closed. And they didn't tell their landlord about it. They just up and closed. They backed the truck up. They loaded their stuff up. They were gone overnight. In the middle of the night. Just whoop, they're gone. Now, Alamo City Comics was located on 281 in Brook Hollow on the north side of San Antonio.
They were an inaugural sponsor of Get Your Geek On.
They were.
They actually were sponsoring us day one.
They were. Yes, they were. They were.
So we
on board.
like them.
Yes, we do. So I went down there to confirm it. I mean, it's not that I don't trust my sources, but at the same time, I don't want to just blindly report something, especially when it's not too far away from where I live. So I headed on down there, and sure enough, they were gone. The entire store was cleaned out, except for some wall brackets, and they left the fire extinguisher, which was cool.
Safety first.
Safety first. There was a bike lock on the front door to prevent me from me and anyone else from getting in, and there was a sign on the inside of the glass, pointing out saying that the owner had skipped out on his rent and he was gone. So, yeah, my source was correct. So I took some pictures. And I tried to reach out to Alamo City Comics. Well, it turns out there are actually 2 stores called Alamo City Comics, which I'm not sure how that happens, but okay.
Well, one may be, and I'm not entirely sure. One may be like something else.
Like an online or
well,
something.
one could be like having to do with stand-up comics or something like that. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, that's true.
There's comics has different
very true
denotations.
So
definitely.
So when I made my post, I tagged them and I tried to reach out to them to find out what's going on. Turns out it was the wrong Alamo City Comics.
And why was it the wrong Alamo City Comics, Dave?
Because the current store that I was at had turned off their Facebook page. There was only one Alamo City Comics available, and how was I supposed to know it was the wrong one?
So at the time, there was no way for you to reach out
there was no way for me to know.
to the actual store.
So I tagged the wrong store, and they let us know. And as soon as they let us know, it was like an hour later, I think.
The tag was removed.
Yeah, we took the tag off because, my bad. I mean,
Definitely.
How was I supposed to know? And so we reported this, and all of a sudden, we started getting comments. And I expected like, wow, I can't believe that they would close up. I can't believe they would, skip out on their landlord like this. And it turns out the comments all of a sudden were directed at us.
Yes.
And it was, how dare you slander this business, and how dare you report without knowing what is going on or getting both sides of the story. Okay, first of all, it turns out that what happened was about 3 hours after we made our post announcing that they had closed up shop, their Facebook page came back and they made a press release type of post saying that there was a problem with the air conditioner.
You're being kind to call that a press release. That
Well,
was a
yeah.
statement.
I'm being nice. And so they said there's like a problem with the air conditioner, and so they decided to move out because of the air conditioner, but they were going to set up shop somewhere else, and they'd let everybody know what would happen when that happened. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, this was about 10:30 at night. I have to get up for work at 5 to be at the office before 6. So when this happened, I was snoozing. Mm-hmm. I was dead to the world when they posted this. So all of a sudden, people start saying, "Well, how come Get Your Geek On? Y'all don't edit your post to show what had happened here? Mm-hmm. How come y'all haven't edited your post? It's been like 4 hours." Well, that's because y'all are making these comments at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was dead to the world.
And additionally, a whole day had passed.
No, this was later that night.
Oh yeah, but a whole business day.
No. This was only like 4, 5, 6 hours later.
Yeah.
July
I'm saying it was like 10 o'clock.
No,
you
yeah,
said.
so it was July
at night.
17th.
Yeah.
July 17th, and you know why? How I know this? This was the last post that they have made.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a second. So to kind of clear the air there, that's the timeline. We made our post announcing that this is what we had discovered. I tried to reach out, tag the wrong business because we didn't know any better. My bad. And then we then they made their post several hours later after we had already gone to bed. Or at least I had, and Goose didn't. I mean, you just keep track of this all the time. So here's what happened. So when I awoke at 5 a.m. to see all of these comments, the first thing I did was edit the post. And I made sure to put update, here's what they said in their press release. And then we continued to get accusations of slander, and you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know both sides of the story, you're not reporting all the facts. Well, we reported the facts as we had them. And we had made efforts, and people asked, how come you didn't reach out to the owner? Well, the owner has an extraordinarily common name for San Antonio. I don't want to say his name because I don't want to throw him under the bus or make it sound like I'm accusing or anything.
But it's similar to like a John Smith, where it's
something like that in San Antonio.
Yes,
so I didn't want to do anything like that because there were like 5,000 of them out on Facebook. I didn't know which one to talk to.
And we would have gone through the Facebook page, but the Facebook page was
down.
there.
It was down at the time. So they make their post, which was made July 17th. And there has not been another post since, even though people are asking, hey, what about my subscriptions? Hey, what about my layaway items? And there's been no response since. Now, we have reached out to that Facebook page, and we've invited the owner to come on the show and talk about what's happened and where are they going? Where are they locating to? What side of town? Where's their business going? And no response. In fact, you know how you can tell if they've even looked at the message?
You haven't gotten that.
I haven't gotten that yet
Yes,
either.
sir.
So there's just nothing going on. So we want them to come on the show. We want to find out what's going on because they're a part of the geeky community.
Definitely.
And there's not a lot on the north side of town as far as geeks are concerned.
Yes,
so
sir.
we would like, for them to reach out, but so far, nothing.
Should we say the words open invitation?
Oh, anytime. Man, anytime they want to come on and chat about it, we're more than happy to chat.
so
Or
if
if they want to give us a statement for us to read out,
Yeah.
I can
Just
do
please
that
let
too.
us know. Give it to us. If you know the people involved with it, let them know. They have a standing invitation. Now, they can't just show up on a Thursday, but they prior notice.
you got to arrange it first.
But if you would love to tell us what happened, tell your customers and your community what happened.
Where are you headed? We'd like
we
to know
want
where
to
you're
know
relocated.
because one, you helped get us on the air originally.
Yep.
We actually am very grateful for you, and so are so many people, and we want to make sure that your story is told
Right.
from your side of it.
Yeah, I mean, we reported the facts as we had them, and there was no other place to get the facts from. So that's what happened regarding Alamo City Comics, and hopefully at some point we'll get some word that we can give back to San Antonio and let y'all know where they're relocating to, so that y'all can go get your layaway, you can go get your subscriptions, and so on.
Yeah, because you always want to add strength to the community and give them
Absolutely.
the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
as well.
Now, speaking of subscriptions, you can also pick some of those up at Dragon's Lair at Alamo Ranch on the west side of San Antonio off of 151 and 1604 out there by SeaWorld. This is a wonderful place. We've always loved going out there every time we've had a good experience. Comics, graphic novels, figures, little plushes, and game pieces and figures, and so much going on. And not only that, but so many events going on out there. Check out their Facebook page, Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch. All right, so with that being said, let's kind of move on here. We got a little bit of video game news to talk about. Alrighty, so Dota 2 is well known for being not only a great game, but also for having incredibly large prize pool. It stands for Defense of the Ancients. And every year they host an international tournament, a global tournament with a prize pool that will boggle your mind. We reported on it last year, and this year it's even bigger. It is officially $25.18 million as of Thursday night. We'll have to keep an update on that. I don't think it's going to hit 26 million. It is largely crowdfunded. And I mean, like 94%. I did the math on this. 94% of the prize pool is crowdfunded.
Gosh.
So it's incredible. The first place team will go home with $11 million.
Jeez.
The prize pool is bigger than the Masters golf tournament.
We are in the wrong business, folks.
Exactly.
Man, so whoever said video games, playing that doesn't pay off, yeah.
Go inside. Video
what are-
games will rot your brain and apparently pad the bank account.
Apparently so.
And what are the ages of the individuals normally who are like doing this? It's got to be younger.
They're in their
like,
20s.
They're like
not
your age, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nuts. I can't. All I had to do was play Dota.
That's
and
it.
And I would be
You
doing
can take
what
home
they
a
were
share of 11 mil for
Well,
the first
play
place.
Dota with your parents' permission.
with my parents. That's right, because us 4-year-olds, we have to get permission
That's
to play Dota.
very, very
Yeah.
true. So last year they almost hit 25 mil. This year they've already eclipsed that, and they're moving even further beyond that. 94% of it's crowdfunded.
$11 million to split across, what, 5 people?
5 players will take home 11 mil. Wow.
There's just something inherently wrong with that.
At this point,
That's so much money
$2.2 million.
a piece.
At this point, it seems more feasible to try
Pre-tax.
to just get good at Dota than to buy lottery tickets.
Yeah, right?
You probably have about the same shot, actually, when you think about it, considering all the people that
That's true.
participate
No,
in the tournament.
no. Dota, the odds increase as you continue.
Well, that's true.
And
That's
maybe you're
true.
winning smaller pools on your way up to the big pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you have to be willing to cut out your relationships in life.
But then, Goose, I'll never get to see you again.
Yes.
But you can see him over at the Texas Ren Fest.
Oh.
Texas Renaissance
Yes.
Festival, TexRenFest.com. It's starting the end of September. It's officially about 5 weeks away, people. So you need to get your tickets at TexRenFest.com. They have themed weekends. They have 200 acres of campgrounds. We got to go out there. It's out there to the northwest of Houston. It's out in the woods, out in the Texas piney woods. It's going to be tremendous. It's going to be great fun.
We're not going to get a week off in September, are we?
No.
Because you've got Labor Day, okay, then more Phenomenal Expo.
Yep.
And then maybe an off week there, and then it's Wizard World and Texas Ren Fest, back week one right after the other.
Well, we can go October.
No, we've got to go the same week, the first weekend, man.
Opening weekend at Texas Ren Fest.
Heck yeah.
So it's one of the largest.
That's insane.
It's the largest Texas Renaissance, or it's the largest Renaissance festival in North America. 650,000 people will go out there. The best part is also kids get in Sunday for free. So we'll probably go on Sunday so we can take clickbait so we can get it for
Yes.
free.
Yeah.
If your kid's 13 and under, which clickbait is, then you're good. You'll get them in for free, no problem. But you want to get your tickets at TexRenFest.com. All right, last subject we want to get into, a little bit of a rant here. Let's talk some Star Wars news.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me Master.
Alrighty, so the Star Wars Resistance is the latest animated Star Wars series. And they finally came out with a trailer. And my initial reaction to the animation style, the dialogue, the content, the subject, the plot, the story, everything we know is That's my official reaction. Just You can quote me on that too. You can retweet that. Dave said
I actually got a quote from a fan
Oh, really? And what was that quote?
Oh, yes. I hate this. It is revolting.
More?
Please.
That's about right. All right. So you had a lot of people had that reaction. This is not the greatest thing you will ever see as far as Star Wars is concerned.
No.
The animation it looks more like Ruby than anything else.
Well, Tron Uprising was a thing.
Tron Uprising, something like that.
It has similar styles to that. That finished look, that little glossy look to the characters, looks a lot like Tron Uprising.
Definitely.
So it was
kind of
okay.
cel-shaded.
It was okay. I mean, it's a thing. Whatever. It doesn't bother me. I'm just not going to watch it. It's on the Disney Channel. It's going to be on at 9 o'clock Central Time. It's 10 Eastern. So
What day of the week?
Sunday.
Okay.
So my thing is like, because after checking this out, because I don't have a huge stake in any of the Star Wars TV shows, but I kind of saw it with an open mind, kind of going like, maybe this is something that will pique my interest. And for me, it didn't. And then also for fans that I'm reading about, some people are like, why do we need this? Or, so who are they making this for?
Well, here's the thing. It's clearly a kid's show.
Definitely.
It's clearly for ages like 11, 12, and under.
So was Rebels.
So was Rebels, although then they brought in
So was
Rex.
Power Rangers.
So was Rex. So was Ahsoka Tano. They brought in different characters from Clone Wars so that the older crowd could get into that as well.
I'm sorry, what did you say, clickbait?
I said like Power Rangers.
Okay, just making sure I heard it.
So they brought in some of that for the older crowd as well. But this is clearly aimed at kids. You can tell it's going to be on the Disney Channel, and it's just everything about it to me screams this is for kids. So people immediately started jumping on me saying, "Oh, well, so how come it's on 10 o'clock at night?" Well, okay, there are a couple of things you got to keep in mind. One, yes, that is late for kids, except if you're on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, no, it'll probably be the West feed has it at approximately the same time, their time.
Give or take, plus or minus. Yeah. But you got to keep in mind a couple of things. One is DVR is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are aware of that or not, but people... I'm sure Disney has statistics about how many people will just watch this later on DVR versus actually watching it live and decided it's not worth it. Let's just go ahead and put it on a little later. Plus, there's also Sunday Night Football. This is going to come on the first weekend of October. They've got to compete with Sunday Night Football hosted by rival NBC.
Definitely.
So maybe having it on a little later isn't necessarily such a bad thing.
Yeah, and also I feel kids nowadays are staying up later and later. I don't think 10 o'clock is a stretch for a 30-minute show.
Yeah.
That's going to happen episodically like that.
Now, maybe for a 5 or 6-year-old, that's one thing. But again, mom and dad will just DVR it and the kid will watch it the next day.
Definitely.
And so I'm sure they've got that to back it up. But everything else, literally everything else about this show says this is for kids. So naturally, all the 30-year-old neckbeards come out and they're all upset and they're all kinds of mad because it's not, an R-rated Game of Thrones gore fest, which is what they're looking for.
But Rebels wasn't either, and people
loved it.
Yeah,
and neither was Clone Wars.
Yeah,
and people loved it.
So you're saying Disney needs to bring back Touchstone and release a cartoon through Touchstone?
Maybe, but it's the same reaction every time. The trailer for Clone Wars came out, people hated it. Then it's one of the most adored Star Wars shows ever. Trailer for Rebels came out. And people started to love that after they hated it.
Yeah.
And now they're flip-flopping again. Watch, they're going to hate this, and then a couple of years down the road, I'm sure we'll be back saying that people love Star Wars Resistance.
Yeah. First season of Clone Wars, there was a lot of that too.
There was.
Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of these shows start and kind of find their footing and then turn into what they're going to be over the long term.
Which is standard for literally every show in existence.
That's true.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Star Trek: The Next Generation, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's just that only had the one season.
The Orville.
Literally, the first season of any show is the worst.
Which means Discovery is going to get way better.
Yeah, Shield
which is good news. Shield too.
Shield too.
Shield. Well,
Agents of
actually,
Shield.
The first 3 quarters of the first season was bad, but when Winter Soldier came out and that thing took a turn and the MCU took a turn, that show really got good.
So look, I get it. There's going to be something for the adult Star Wars fans out there, but it's a kid's show, and people are getting really, truly upset to the point where all of a sudden, if you talk about Star Wars Resistance in a positive way, people jump all over you on social media. And so I made a post. I made the mistake of spouting my opinion and saying that it's clearly for kids, and that, people ought to stop whining and crying about what is obviously a kids show. At which point, then the response I got was, "Oh, so now we can't criticize anything ever in the history of anything ever in ever."
So just to be sure, you're talking positive about the cartoon, and the response you got was resistance.
Yes, that's exactly right. So,
That's a good one, Goose. Good one.
So look, guys, yes, you can criticize things, but you have to understand this is a kids show. Star Wars Resistance is meant for 10-year-olds, which, let's face it, Star Wars has always been meant for 10-year-olds. We will get something for the adults out there. Calm down. Good gracious.
It's almost like people are afraid we're not going to get more Star Wars media.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to do this, guys. It's going to happen. We still have the Jon Favreau trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
the Ryan Johnson trilogy
Ryan
and Jon Favreau
show.
live action
series. So that's going to come out. There's going to be something for everybody out there. And I got this from Mike Quinn. Mike Quinn, I talked to him about the backlash, and he said, you know what? It's revenue from these shows that pay for other shows. So it's going to happen. Just calm down already. Oh, my goodness. All right, so that'll wrap it up here. For Goose, for Alex, and for myself, I want to thank our sponsors, the Texas Renaissance Festival, Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch, Havoc, and The Mailing Spot. Thank you for listening, and be sure to get your geek on every single day. Goodbye, everybody. We're glad you watched this video. We work really hard to put out some great quality content for geeks out there. If you liked that video, don't worry about it, because there are plenty more out there. You can click right here to find more videos, more interviews, more clips, more fan theories, more of just really everything out there under the sun that we do. But you can also click here and mash that subscribe button, because that way you just don't miss it. You get a little ping. You don't have to go digging for anything. We bring the news right to you. Just mash that subscribe button. You're good to go.